In this video, we are going to do an example that is meant to be a system of equations with three variables, three equations. So here's our situation, and let's see what we can figure out. It says Sam receives $126 per year in simple interest from three investments. Part is invested at a 2% return, and part is invested at a 3% return, and part gets a 4% return. There is $500 more invested in the 3% than the 2%. The amount invested at 4% is 3 times the amount invested at 3%. Find the amount invested in each rate. All right. So a simple interest just means you're going to take the interest that you accrue, which is 2%, and you just multiply it by the amount that you have. So let's call our X the money at 2%. And let's call Y, let's go this way, the money invested at 3%, and then Z, let's call it the money invested at 4%. All right, so let's create an equation. So simple interest is we earn 2% of whatever we have at X, plus 3% of whatever we have invested at Y, plus 4% whatever we have invested at in Z. And then that's supposed to make $126 all added together. Okay, so that takes care of the first thing. We get $126 of simple interest. And then part is invested at 2%, 3%, 4%. So there's $500 more invested at 3% than 2%. So our 3%, we don't know, but it is $500 more than what we had invested at our 2%. All right, so there's our second equation. And then the third equation is the amount invested at 4%, which we don't know, Z, is 3 times the amount invested at 3%. 3 times Y. Okay, so we got ourselves some substitution going on. And we're going to take the Y value, and I'm going to sub in the Y value right there. All right, and then I'm going to, actually, I'm going to manipulate this because here's what I see. That the problem with that, it's not a problem, I just would have to do a couple extra substitutions. So if I substituted the Y in, I would be turning this Y into an X, which is great because I have an X here and I have an X here. But I don't have a way to make the Z into an X. So I can go maybe the other way around. Which, what if I swapped positions? So what if instead I got X by itself by subtracting the Y, the 500 over? So if I subtracted the 500 over, it would be Y minus 500. So now if I take my X, I'll replace it and it'll have a Y in it. This will have a Y in it, and my Z will have a Y in it. So not that you couldn't have done it the other way and substituted in more than one time. It's totally fine. But we can do it this way as well. So our X value is going to get substituted in here, and then our Z value is going to get substituted in right there. All right, so what's that looking like? So we're going to have 0.02 times our X, which is being replaced with Y minus 500, plus 0.03 Y, we didn't change that at all, and then plus 0.04 times whatever we replace Z with. That equals 126. So we do all sorts of distribution. So we got 0.02 Y minus 10 plus 0.03. So that was this distributed in. And then plus 0.12 Y equals 126. I'm going to add the 10 over, put all the Y's together, If I put all the y's together, I'm getting a 0.17y equals 136. Divide by 0.17. The y value is going to be 800. So 800 invested at 2%. So 800 at 2%. Nope, that's 3%. All right, and then I need to find my x value. So my x value, I have an equation right here of y minus 500. So x is going to equal my y value minus 500. So that gets us x to equal $300 at 2%. And then my last is z. Z is going to be 3 times y. 3 times 800. So our z value is going to equal 2,400 at 4%. All right, so that was definitely a little bit longer, a little bit tougher problem because of the interest all going on. But that was a second word problem with systems of equations with 3 variables, 3 equations.